Yeah, the thing about a food truck is mainly that a good, reliable truck, because you need to be reliable if you're going to be doing this every day and this is your business. So a good, reliable truck, at minimum, is going to cost you about $10,000. And that's an empty truck that has absolutely nothing in it. Unless you get like a super deal from somebody, which I'm sure it's out there, you'll get $10,000 and get a truck with everything equipped. But if you don't, you're going to get a truck that's $10,000 and you still got to dump it anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 more to get it ready for you to be able to cook out of it. Not to mention, on top of that, now you got to get this thing zoned. It's basically like you're building a house. Same concept. You got to get permits and everything for every single step. It has to be inspected every single step of the way to make sure that it's up to code. Each one of these things have little fees attached to them. But basically, by the time it's all said and done, you got yourself a truck that costs you maybe about $20-something thousand. Now, on top of that, now you got to spend into your advertisement. You know, that's just the truck. Now you want to advertise the outside of your truck, your business logo, menu, if you're going to post it on the outside of the truck.
And like your vinyl wrap is still over $1,000, right?
Yeah, vinyl wrap is still at least over $1,000 for something like that. Your umbrella, you want something for when people stand over it, that little canopy set up, you know, that's additional. There's all these little extra accessories that you're going to add to the outside of it. Do you want to get a little carry rack for the back of the truck so you can put a couple of chairs and maybe a table, so wherever you park, if you're parking at a spot for 6 hours out of the day, you might want to throw a couple of chairs and a foldable table so the customer can eat something. Like there's a guy in Seymour, he's been there for years, little hot dog setup, and he's got his little bench and chairs, and people ride on their bikes all the time on that road, and regular people in cars and so forth. They'll go there and take a break, sit down and eat their food. So I mean, all of these little things, they're all extra expenses. Your food, how long is it going to take before you actually start building a clientele? The thing about a food truck is, don't think you're going to park in a spot and it's going to do great. You're going to jump to like about 10, if not 15 different spots before you actually find that right spot.
And you won't know the first day either.
Yeah.
You gotta give it time.
Yeah, it's definitely, you won't know the first day, so you're going to be in one spot for at least a week, if not 2, before people start to know that you're there. And it's either going to be a really slow spot or a really good spot. If it's a really good spot, great, you lucked out. If it's not, guess what? You can't stay there much longer than 2 weeks because you're losing money every day that goes by. So now you move it to another location. And every location that you go to, you got to get an okay to go to that location. So it's not like you could just, well, I'm going to go down there and park and see what happens. No, you got to get a okay from the town to be parked at that spot.
Yeah,
So
you got an okay and like basically a permit for each spot that you go to.
Yep,
Do you have to pay fees to the town
you do.
when you do that?
You do.
So it's kind of like a hot dog stand where you get that 2 square foot spot and you have to pay rent on it.
More or less.
The town.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, every town is different based on their regulation, and all the fees are different based on the area and so forth. But that's the concept in it. A lot of people think it's easy and it's cheap. It's not. You know, you got better luck doing a hot dog cart. It's actually a lot cheaper, similar money.
This is actually almost like a restaurant, starter restaurant. You know, like your first restaurant, not you know going out and getting a full service kind of thing. But if you find some rental that may already have equipment in there and is almost ready to start serving people, it might actually be a cheaper way out.
The best bet would be to try to find a vehicle that's already equipped. Basically, you want a vehicle that's fully equipped. It may not be running good, but it's still a lot cheaper to fix the mechanical aspect of it than the whole permits and building this thing up and everything. Even if you drop the motor in a truck and a transmission, it's still cheaper than to find in one that's not even done up. And and less of a headache.
Do you know if those certifications travel with the truck, or do you have to go and reapply and have all the stuff re-inspected again?
I believe they gotta be inspected every single time. Like if you gain ownership of that vehicle, it's gotta be inspected, prior to the registration or whatever, just to make sure that it's legitimate. Cause I could build one in my backyard and sell it to you, and I didn't pull a single permit or nothing, nothing inside of it is up to code or, fire standards or whatever, and sell it to you, hey, here, $10,000. Now you get it, you take it over there, get it inspected, turns out that, nothing's up to code. Guess what? You're gutting this whole thing and you're paying to get it all redone. At this point, you don't have a choice but to do it. You're already into the truck for X amount of dollars, so you can't say, "Out the hell with it, I'm not gonna do nothing," because you just lost that money. You're too deep, basically. So now you gotta spend the money.
When it comes to running a truck, do you think you still need to have some kind of site with a walk-in freezer for all of your supplies, all of your ingredients, or is there room on those trucks to hold everything, so like everything is all enclosed?
There's rooms, depending on the size of the truck, and your menu. When you do these trucks, you wanna have a simple menu. Every single truck that's out there has a simple menu. You don't wanna get too creative and fancy with the menu, because that means that now you have to stock a lot more stuff. And you gotta keep in mind that the truck is only but so big. Your refrigerator is only but so big. You have your refrigerator that's inside, which is basically, you can have a refrigerator and your freezer. You could always attach a little cooler to the back of the truck or something, but you're fully capable of doing it. But you definitely, no matter what, want to keep a simple menu.
But pretty much every night you got to clean that truck out completely, put it in your house or wherever your home base is. Then in the morning, it's repacked up, so you've got your new stuff coming in from the house.
Mm-hmm.
So your house is kind of going to be involved in the whole process because
Yep.
we're storing stuff.
Now, here's another way to go about it. I don't know if you ever seen, they have these food trucks. And basically what the food truck is, it's almost like a buffet, more or less. You're cooking all the food at a completely different site altogether. You're not even cooking it in the truck itself. Basically the concept is like a catering setup, buffet style. You open up your doors, you got your trays. You know, your chafing dishes or whatever. That's the kind of similar setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Macaroni and cheese, meatball, pork.
And then you're standing
Pasta.
outside the truck.
You're standing outside of the truck. You pull up at a site. This is what a lot of people do in this particular truck. They pull up to different job sites. They have a routine. They stop at A&J's at 11 o'clock. They're there for 15 minutes. The guys all come out. They grab what they want to eat. They leave from there. Now he goes to Timmy's Body Shop at 11:20. He pulls up. Timmy's Body Shop, waits there a couple minutes. The guys know they're all going to come out. They come out, they grab their food, their soda, their chips, little cupcakes or whatever dessert he has. Okay, you're done, boom. 11:30, I'm going to John John's Automotive. Do the same concept and so on until about, I say, 1 o'clock. So you figure your lunchtime is like 11 to 1 o'clock. So you got within that time period to sell everything that's on your truck. So, that's not a bad setup to have.
With a setup like that, could you handle breakfast too and then go back to the house and get lunch stuff?
You could handle that depending on where you're stationed at. You know, you don't want to live in Bridgeport, that's your home base, and you're doing business out of Ansonia, and then drive all the way to Bridgeport, you know, go do your breakfast, and then come all the way back over here. Basically, you're restocking the truck. Now, the good thing about that setup is they have travel containers. I say they're about this high. They come in different sizes, but basically it has a door, and you can fit like 5 trays. Like big full-size trays, you can fit like 5, or half and half trays. 2 half trays fit on one slot, and I think you fit up to 5 of them on there. And this thing keeps everything really nice and hot. So this is your backup food. So if you run out of any of the trays in the truck, just go in and pull out the next one.
Those bodies for the truck, the big, silver, or I don't even know what they're made out of. I've never actually touched one. Is that a custom built thing that you get, or do you buy those things?
What do you mean?
Like the whole back of the truck, because these like canteen trucks have got a pickup truck up front, and at the back of the bed is where they have
You
the
can buy them
service.
that way.
Like from a dealer?
I believe you can get them from a dealer that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe they sell them. They sell them from a dealer. You can probably get them new, but you got to put in the request. There's a company that does it. There's several companies that does it. It's not a regular. You're not going to your regular Chevy dealership. I guess you would have to research it to see who exactly stocks them, but somebody does, because there's a lot of them out there and they're new, and I doubt that they're all customized. So I do believe that somebody sells them.
Probably get financing built into it too.
That wouldn't be a bad route to go. The good thing about that is if you finance the truck, for example, the only thing that truck is really costing you is your down payment and whatever you're paying for your insurance and registration every month. Worst case scenario, if you financed it and you got into this business venture and down the road, 6 months into it, you're like, this just isn't working. What was I thinking? I don't want to do this. Worst case scenario, you turn the vehicle back in. Granted, you'll have a penalty. It'll screw your credit up a little bit. But you're done with it. You can always build credit back up, which is the upside to it. You could build credit back up. And you didn't lose a lot. You lost whatever maybe your down payment was and whatever expense for registration insurance. But outside of that, you didn't lose much more. As opposed to if you went out and spent $12,000 on a truck, another 5, 6, whatever, to build whatever, 6 months down the road, you decide you don't want to do this business anymore. Okay, that's great, but you just blew God knows how many $1,000s into a truck that now you got to look at sitting in your driveway doing nothing. And when you turn around to try to sell it, it's not going to necessarily sell the next day. You may sit on it for another 6, 7, 8 months, maybe even a year. And by the time you wind up selling that vehicle, whatever you dumped into it, you're pretty much going to get half of what you dumped into it. So you're not going to get your money back. You know?
So how would you compare doing a mobile restaurant thing over getting some rental space in town and setting up a brick and mortar? Do you think it's a good idea, or do you see expenses going in different directions?
They're both high expense. Anything that pertains to restaurant is a high expense type of business. You just never know what it's going to cost you. Like if you went and got yourself a restaurant, you figure off to start with, you're gonna dish out anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Just walking in the door is going to cost you first month, last month, and maybe 2 securities as a safety feature because everyone's so paranoid now. So it's going to cost, you're going to dish like $8,000 at least, if not more, just to walk in the door. And that didn't even buy you anything. That's just ensuring you got the rental space. And then everything in the business now is considered commercial. So now everything costs you even more. If you want cable in there, costs you twice as much than what a house would cost. It's not the same fees. Same thing with phone. It's not the same amount that you would spend at home. It costs you a little more. Everything in a business costs more. From phone to cable to internet, everything costs more. And then you want to fix it up to suit your taste, so you're dishing out another 10 grand to fix the place And that's dirt cheap. Everything's equipped, all the equipment's there, you're spending 10 grand, maybe picking up some new tables, paint, fixing a couple holes, whatever, a couple little lamps, you know. You figure you got another 10 grand into it. Advertisement, you gotta dish out at least 5 grand on advertisement to get the business to you. It's a gamble. Anything in the restaurant industry is a gamble. The only thing that I would actually say is not a gamble, and you have pretty good chances, is in catering. Because catering is something that you could do right out of your own home. You don't have to invest a lot into it, and you do pretty good. And the good thing about that is if you want to do parties and stuff, you could make deals with a lot of halls where you get good numbers from them. And you could actually offer this as part of your package in catering. We could get you a hall for X amount of dollars and do it there, and you'll cater that event at that particular hall for X amount of dollars. If your kitchen's not big enough and you see that you're doing really good in business, then maybe, yeah, you want to get a space. But just for cooking. You know, it's not open to the public, it's just basically there for your cooking. And even then, you still need some kind of licensing. But that would probably be the way to go. And I say that coming from experience. I did catering for many years, in my younger years. Not that I'm old or anything. But when I was younger, 16, I want to say 16 to like 21, that's all I did was in the catering business. And it's a good money-making business. You know, and not a lot of gamble in it.
All right. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.